The holidays are upon us, and that historically means in Big Bear, it's the peak time for rental property owners. People flocking up to Big Bear to ski, enjoy the holidays and the new year. But is this going to be the same in 2025? It was only 4 years ago where you could buy an Airbnb for 400 grand, put it up as a rental and make $80,000 plus a year. No big deal. Everyone was buying and everyone was renting. However, fast forward to now basically, and people who bought 2 or 3 years ago are selling. Why is that? Can you no longer make a profit with an Airbnb in Big Bear? Today we find out. Fast forward to 2025, over 800 homes for sale in Big Bear. Never have we seen this amount, ranging from 40 grand all the way up to $6 million. But how much do you need to spend on an Airbnb in Big Bear to be able to make money? And what areas should you be looking to buy in? Today, I'm going to talk about how you need to be more strategic now, how you can't jump into any Airbnb, what you need to have in your rental in order to make money, and what zip codes as well you should be looking to buy in. Come on, let's get started. Right now I'm in Moonridge, and if you ask me, this has to be one of the best places to buy a rental. You're about 10 minutes from the slopes, you're less than 10 minutes from the village, so the location is ideal. And more importantly, you're in Big Bear City. And when it comes to rental code enforcement, Big Bear City is definitely more lax than Big Bear Lake. Now, Big Bear Lake and Big Bear City is both in Moonridge. So when you're looking, I would suggest looking at the 92314 zip code in Moonridge, and even Sugarloaf as well. Sugarloaf is a little bit more cheaper, but you can still get some good bang for your buck. But yeah, the 92314 zip code. There's also the 92315 zip code in Moonridge, but that's Big Bear Lakes looking after it. And they're more stringent when it comes to renting. For example, if you buy a rental property in Big Bear City, you can actually take on the short-term rental permit from the previous sellers while you're applying for your permit, so you can keep it up as an Airbnb. If you're in Big Bear Lake, you have to cancel the permit and wait 4 to 8 weeks while you apply for your own permit. So that's one drawback. I'm actually going to go and look at one for sale right now, $340,000. I think it can pull in between 35 and 40 grand a year. 2-bed, 1 bath, but I'm gonna go take a look. It's a good location on Rainbow Ave. Let's go check it out. Big Bear is actually one of the few places in Southern California where prices have actually gone down over the last 2 years, 10% maybe in some areas. People were really overpaying. It was COVID, people wanted to go into open spaces, interest rates were low, and they spent big. And now people are paying the price. Mortgage rates have more than doubled. The numbers no longer make sense anymore. However, what if I told you you could buy a rental cabin in Big Bear for $650,000 and still make 100 grand a year in rents if you're strategic about it? And when I say strategic, you really need these 5 components. When it comes to the amount of bedrooms, you can make money in an Airbnb with a 2, 3, or 4 bedroom. The one I just looked at, it's not quite a good fit for my buyer, but 340 grand, you can make $35,000 to $40,000 a year. 3 bedrooms minimum though, really, if you're spending over $500,000. And that 4th bedroom could be important. You could turn it into a games room, very important, have a pool table, table tennis, maybe cornhole. It's always important to have some sort of entertainment at the home, because guess what? Parents like that when they're bringing their kids. So a 4th bedroom can often become entertainment area. Also a garage. Garages aren't that important. So if it does have a garage, think about turning that into an entertainment space as well. Hot tubs. It's a no-brainer. If you've got a rental property in Big Bear, it has to have a hot tub. Yes, they're $12,000, but it's going to make its money back in spades. For me, if it doesn't have a hot tub, it's not ticking all the boxes. Also, flat parking. It can get icy, it can get snowy, and a lot of people aren't used to driving in the snow. So if you have an area where you can just drive up into a flat driveway when purchasing a home, that's ideal. This one, for example, it's a bit slopey. And getting in and out of that, when it's icy, the car can start sliding, people freak out, they won't go back to that Airbnb. So get a flat driveway if you can. And if you're wondering who I am, I'm Matt Tilley, the British bloke. I'm a local realtor, and I've helped a lot of people from my YouTube channel buy homes in Big Bear. So don't be shy. Give me a call, text. We can jump on a Zoom or a phone call and walk you through it, what I think is good on the market right now, and see if we're a good fit. Hope to hear from you. Now, people like the cabin vibe. That's why they come to Big Bear, but still have it modern if you can, a little bit updated. If it's carpet, have it clean. An open concept, have the kitchen facing the living dining area, because guess what? When you're going up with friends and family, the husband or wife is in the kitchen cooking, they can still entertain and speak to the other people who are there. They're not secluded in the kitchen. So the more open concept, the better. And have the mod cons. It can be an older rustic cabin. I love that vibe, but update the bathrooms and a big fireplace. People are often coming up here in the winter. That's when you get your most bang for your buck. And if you can have a roaring fireplace, wood or gas, doesn't really matter. It's a big plus. So if you ask me, make sure the cabin has a really nice central fireplace. And they're hard to find, so this definitely isn't a must, but A-frames. If you can find an A-frame cabin, people are just drawn to them. They look visually good in photographs when trying to promote it as a cabin. So get the A-frame. This isn't really a proper A-frame, this one here, but it's kind of shaped a little bit like an A-frame. But yeah, A-frame cabins, for whatever reason, very, very popular, but hard to find. Also, have it fenced off if possible from the next door neighbors. A lot of these cabins, they're on big lots, but there's not really fencing between the house next door. People want privacy, especially if they're in a hot tub or they're with their young kids. So if it doesn't have fencing, definitely put fencing up so it's secluded. And also, it doesn't need air conditioning. Don't think if the cabin doesn't have an air conditioner, it's a big deal. Maybe a couple of weeks the year you want it, but it's not a deal breaker if you ask me. But definitely check the furnaces. There can be some old furnaces. Check the electrical panels as well. You don't want the Zinco panels, which are very popular up in Big Bear 45 years ago. And also the roof. Luckily, there's only subterranean termites in Big Bear. They can't survive termites in this atmosphere. But also make sure you check out the fireplace. People have these fireplaces roaring for half the year sometimes. They can get battered. So you don't want to buy a rental cabin and then all of a sudden have $5,000 to $10,000 worth of chimney work. So definitely make sure you get the chimney checked. And obviously if you work with me, I've got my inspector up here, Tristan. He's absolutely awesome. And we'll be checking all this out. And people might overlook it as well, but the management company is hugely important. And these property management companies aren't charging 6 to 10% like they might do to rent out your property in other parts of America. They're charging up to 30%. So make sure you get a company that's going to promote your cabin. I actually have a guy, he only charges 20%, lowest in town, but he's not a big corporation, he's not a big company. He answers his phone and he does great work. So if you're going with these bigger companies, and you'll find them when you Google, who are charging 26, 27%, make sure they're going to go to work for you, because sometimes they don't, and that eats into your profit. Here's another flat driveway. You can see, you can just pull up and drive straight into it. You don't have to go up a steep driveway, maybe round a bend and be all slippery and icy and turning up in the dark and petrifying the renters. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. I do videos every week on what it's like to live in Southern California. Hope to see you in my next video. Over 300 homes have been on the market more than 90 days, and 50% of homes have had price drops. So you can see, if you're looking to negotiate right now, find yourself an agent who gets on the phone and can negotiate hard for you. I think you're looking at one right here. And find a deal. You couldn't find a deal 3, 4, 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. You can find deals now. And guess what? Big Bear's not going anywhere. People are still going to be flocking to Big Bear from LA in the summer and the winter months. If you ask me, Big Bear is not dead. It's definitely slowed down. You definitely need to be more picky when finding a cabin, but there's still money to be made. As you can see here, this rental property, this Airbnb, doesn't have a fence. So here is the backyard of the Airbnb. You have the hot tub, which is great, but there's no fence. Here's the other home, and there's no fence. I could walk into their yard right now. That's not what you want when you're renting an Airbnb or buying one. And also remember, when getting a mortgage on a second home or an investment property up in Big Bear or anywhere, to be honest, you're going to be paying about 1% more. So right now, a conventional loan, you're looking at what, 6.5%. Second home, second mortgage, 7.5%. Now, I have lenders right now who are going to knock a percent off for you. You can also get seller credit and knock it down another 2%. But bear in mind, when crunching your numbers, your mortgage rate is going to be about a percentage more. And if you ask me, 2025, we're not going to be seeing mortgage rate plummet. So if you're waiting till the end of 2025 because you think mortgage rates are going to be back down to 4%, it ain't happening. To be honest, if we get to 6.0 by the end of the year, according to all the people who crunch the numbers when it comes to mortgages, we'll be lucky. Now, 2026, could we get into the mid fives? That would be awesome. But yeah, if you're waiting to buy in Big Bear because, oh my God, I'm walking up a hill and whew, it's tough. But yeah, if you're waiting to buy because you think mortgage rates are going to plummet, unfortunately, mid fives onwards is probably going to become the new norm for a long, long time. So yeah, my 3 cents here. If your budget's 350, 500,000, 700,000, or $1 million, can you make money in Big Bear? Absolutely. To be honest, I'd prefer to put my money in Big Bear than Mammoth. Mammoth, you've got to spend a lot more money. If you ask me, it's really only a winter resort, while Big Bear, summer and winter. Yes, you can make a lot more in the winter time, but there's also business during the summer as well. So if you've got a budget between 300 grand and $1 million plus, and you're thinking, can you make money in Big Bear? Is Big Bear dead? No, it's not. Is it alive and kicking? Maybe not, but it's still profitable if you have the money to spend. And the great thing about buying a rental property, yes, maybe you're going to spend a couple of weeks in it every year, but it's more of a math equation. You don't need to get emotional. You don't be having sleepless nights. Should we buy this or not? If the numbers make sense and it's a good fit, you can buy it. The beauty of buying rental properties, you don't have to get emotionally attached to the purchase.